LatAm Autos is the leading online marketplace for cars in Latin America. We have operations in 6 markets, the big ones being Mexico and Argentina, as well as Peru, Ecuador, Panama and Bolivia. And they're all Spanish-speaking markets, which is very important. We get a lot of synergies from having one single language across the region, and we're able to really attract a big part of the marketing budgets of the large auto manufacturers. Overall, online advertising represents less than 10% of the total advertising in the autos vertical in Latin America, which obviously is much different compared to Australia, where it's more like 60 or 70%. If you add up the populations of all of our countries, the size of our addressable market is actually 10 times larger than Australia. And the business model of online classifieds itself has been very well executed in Australia, so I think a lot of people will have familiarity with what we're trying to do. Essentially, we're quite similar to the business model of car sales in Australia, Auto Trader in the UK, Auto Trader in the US, etc. And Latin America itself is a very exciting region. It's one of the fastest growing internet markets in the world, and we're positioned as the leader in that particular segment. The online auto classified sector in Latin America is in quite an early stage. Less than 10% of all online, 10% of all advertising in total is done online. So there's a huge migration of this offline advertising spend to the online sector. Now, this is expected to occur, much quicker than I think what happened in Australia, for example. The use of smartphones is a big differential compared to, say, the mid-2000s in Australia. Which makes the internet much more accessible for users in emerging markets. It's one of the fastest growing internet regions in the world, and there's been a lot of investment and a lot of focus from international investors in the Latin American region. So we're positioned at the forefront of that. We have a regional business model which gives us a lot of synergies from a technology, marketing and operations point of view. We have seasoned professionals. Our management team, I think, is a very big advantage. Essentially, we are a Latin American company. The only 2 Australians in the company are myself and our CFO and our board of directors, which is really important in operating in emerging markets, to have that local connections. Our CEO, George, has been in the sector for 15 years, in the jobs vertical as well as the autos vertical. And over the next few years, we're in the pole position to really monetize our business effectively. In 2015, we grew our revenues 10% year on year. The first year of operations was really a tale of, I think, 2 halves. The first half was focused definitely on integrating our businesses, because we actually acquired the leading autos marketplace in each market, and we combined them into a regional platform. So that first half was focused on integrating technology, the management team, the commercial strategy, whereas the second half was focused purely on performance. And you can see that in our results. Our second half revenues were 39% higher than our first half revenues in Australian dollars, which I think is the highlight of the result. And we're expecting very strong revenue growth in 2016. We're expecting the company to be break even by 2018. So that gives us 2 strong years of investment in marketing, technology, really focused on market share gains. So our strategy is to be in a dominant position in each of our markets. We're currently the leader on a number of metrics in each of our markets. But to get the network effects and to own the most part of the ecosystem of the buying and selling process for cars, we think 2 years to do that of investment. In total, we raised $20.2 million in November last year. That capital is allocated for just acceleration of our existing strategy. So we're very well funded at this point in time. We have the capital in place, we have the team, we have the technology, and 2016 is part of it's a big year for the company, I think, from an execution point of view. Definitely by this time next year, we'll be, I think, a big part of the whole ecosystem of buying and selling cars in Latin America. We have a very, very specific target on dealers as a customer base being a very high priority. They're the professionals in the sector. They value a lot our premium service. We're offering a product that has never been offered before. And I think once you gain their trust and their custom in a sort of dominant way, owning that market, we definitely can step out into new revenue streams such as finance, insurance, payment systems, additional revenue streams that aren't currently factored into our 2016 budget. So putting all that into what we expect, I think revenue growth should be strong, as well as very strong market share growth as well.